Hey yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. So the days are getting shorter and the nights are getting colder. The world is caught in the grip of an ice age, leaving what was once Europe a bleak wasteland of snow, rock and ice. During this time, warring clans struggle to survive by any means necessary to claim areas of land where geothermal energy shoots columns of steam from the frozen earth that soon promises fertile land, enough to farm and maintain crops. But be wary, these farms are sought after by rival clans, plus the short-lived steam columns cause a sickness known as the Bane. Linger too long and your clan succumb to its infection. Now I'm talking about Steamwatchers. Now this is a 2 to 5 player, highly competitive area control game from Mythic Games. Each player takes control of a unique clan with special abilities and elite units in an attempt to gain geothermal resources. However, players can also decide to play a scenario-based game with specific win conditions that a clan must race to achieve. In this video, we're going to look at the components, and there are a lot, plus look at the gameplay mechanic and the available expansions. First, the game board, where there is a neoprene version 2. It's awesome and shows the remnants of Europe, now turned Europa. The land is split into multiple named areas of plains and mountains that can affect movement. The sea spaces are called ice flow areas that can be used to transport clans long distances. Each round, players will place their ambassador tokens on the title claim track, and this dictates the turn order, but also grants start of round effects depending on the position. Briefly, the Watcher area allows for players to draw steam column cards to place steam on the map, and doing so gives them some form of control to location. The Carina space allows a clan possibilities to travel ice flow areas free of charge, and the Archon space allows players to draw these cards and select one to give either an immediate or ongoing game effect. The last space, the Primus, allows the owner of the token to place it and reserve a title claim area for the next round, as well as deploying units onto the board. This track here is the geothermal resource track that is adjusted each round based on the number of farms and steam columns the clan controls. Now there are 7 clans to choose from, each with unique abilities, base and elite units, their own tokens for taking actions and markers for scoring areas. The clan boards are asymmetric with regards to abilities, the type and number of algo fuel resources, and costs associated with special actions. Algo fuel is the resource used to boost combat strength, round upkeep and certain actions during the game. The clan board artwork is amazing and of thick cardstock. This is the supply track that dictates the number of units you can have deployed and is based on your geothermal resource level. This is the incubation area that tracks Bane infection, and here is where you store your fuel. And this area is to mark any special actions that you've taken this round. Each clan also has its own combat disc for boosting strength during combat. Now, there are too many components to go into detail of all of them, but we can discuss their uses as they crop up when we look at the gameplay. But each clan has components of a specific colour, and the miniatures are great. They're pretty sturdy, very easy to tell apart, and really well detailed. These are beacons that can be left in vacated areas to maintain control, and there are also other buildings to include farms and hefty turrets. The components are fantastic and of excellent quality. The artwork across the board is amazing, plus there are loads of component trays, enough for one for each clan and additional components, so they store easily and tidily in this crate-sized box. Now let's look at the gameplay. Now each game is played over 3 to 5 rounds that consists of 5 phases. Before each game you'll need to decide which one of the 9 scenarios you wish to play. That includes a great tutorial to learn the game, a standard game with no requirements, and others with win conditions such as hold specific number of haven territories or take control of secret locations. Now I was quite impressed with the rules for how to deploy starting units at the beginning of the game. Whereas in my other favourite area control games such as Game of Thrones or even Scythe, your units always begin at a particular location dependent on faction. What this can do is cause players to develop what I call best starting actions. Steamwatchers negates this by changing the setup locations of clans each game as well as starting steam columns. Firstly, at the start of the game, you draw a Steam Watcher card and place steam columns at the required levels in that indicated area, and this is done a number of times as indicated by the scenario. So your starting steam column locations are different for each game. The steam columns are represented by these really cool looking 3D pieces. Also, when deploying units at this stage, a clan will select one of 6 deployment cards that indicate areas where they can place their starting units and additional steam columns. Once selected, the remaining cards are then passed to the next player and so on. Therefore, there is huge variability at this stage, not to mention there are also 7 clans to choose from. The main meat of the game is the order planning and activation phases. Each clan has a number of order tokens that they can place face down in territories that they control, and players take turns playing one at a time. A move action allows the units in the area to move to an adjacent location to explore new territory, claim land, and possibly start a fight. Units can move into different areas to include distant coastal areas by seafaring, but to do this they must have gained a contract with the Karinas in the sea area they wish to travel. For such a big game, battle is very simple. Each clan adds up the strength value of units in battle and can then secretly add a number of algo fuel resources using the combat dials. Some tactical gameplay may allow you to use the support of your units in adjacent areas, but the enemy can also use support. The defender also gets to utilise turrets and any defence order tokens in the embattled area to boost strength. There is also a decoy order, which can be used to lay some trickery in your actions. As well as the move, defend and decoy basic actions, players can make use of limited special actions. These use the same order tokens, but you'll also need to add a token onto your player board and possibly pay a cost. Special actions that can be taken include a forced march to move more distant territories, deploying units onto the map, and gaining the contracts with the Karinas to enable the clan to utilise travelling the sea. Although there are few basic actions, the use of special actions supports tactical play and becomes an important part of the game due to the possible cost, the type of fuel, and Bane infection. There are many areas of the game that require players to spend fuel, such as special actions, building farms, battles, and choosing to keep contracts for the seafaring at the end of the rounds. However, players have a number of fuel available to them each round, as well as having two types that can be used. Pure algo fuel is represented by green barrels and has no adverse effects when spent. However, red algo fuel is contraband and increases the clan's incubation and therefore requires careful consideration before use. The incubation level can also increase if a clan's units are in territories with depleting steam columns due to Bane infection. Each clan's player board has an area to track this, where certain effects take place when the infection reaches specific levels, such as gaining quarantine tokens or even death to your units. Every time players gain quarantine tokens, they are slotted onto the areas of the player board, reducing the number of special actions that are available and pure fuel that are gained at the start of the round, as well as permanently reducing the maximum number of units a clan has access to. Each of these drastically alters your future plans as your actions and resources now become limited. The game ends either after a specified number of rounds where the clan with the most geothermal resources wins, or if the scenario win condition has been met. As the game comes with 7 clans, multiple scenarios and variable clan deployment, Steamwatchers offers huge replay value. Gameplay is fun and exciting, and downtime between turns is not unreasonable unless there are lots of battles. These are quick, simple, and you generally get to know who is going to win beforehand, and this is where the awareness of players' fuel resources is important, as well as deciding when in the round to attack. This is because attacking a player with lots of support is risky, but if you wait until they've used those action tokens in these areas, you may have waited too long and be attacked first. Seafaring becomes valuable, but clans aren't given free use of the seas. They have to hold haven territories to gain contracts, but then need to spend fuel to keep them. I like this game. It's big, not too complex, but feels a good tactical skirmish, and I was really surprised at how simple the rules were. It reminds me of a more streamlined version of a Game of Thrones with some additional mechanics, and I really love the theme. What I also like is that the components are limited, meaning defence turrets and players' beacons that are used to control empty land areas are removed from the game if destroyed. I would also say that this alone appears a complete and full game, providing endless fun game after game, but there are also 3 expansions that can be included in any combination, and these add new mechanics, units and scenarios and are a welcome asset. Peace with Wolves expansion offers diplomacy modules where you can provide your alliance to another clan with rewards of gaining new abilities and the option to be supported in battle, but be warned, break this alliance and you suffer heavy consequences. It also provides a vassal module where players can control 2 clans. The Fuel of War expansion introduces clan leaders represented by a brand new unit and gear card. These leaders actually begin the game off board but can be brought into the game each round. The later in the game you make use of your leader, the stronger they are, but the less time you have to use their gear cards, so you'll need to judge this carefully according to your needs. The The next expansion, Spark of Hope, is the most complex expansion of the three. It allows players to deploy huge armoured multi-carriage trucks that can transport units around the map and participate in battle. Not only that, each clan controls a caravan board that can be upgraded with new tech kits providing even more special abilities, or they can flip existing tech kits to a more advanced version. Now, these expansions provide a little more complexity to the base game, which is great. Adding these expansions will increase the game length, and all are fantastic in their own way. From each expansion, you have so many more options and opportunities available to you that I recommend using at least one of these each game. Now, I don't have a favourite, as each provides a unique and rewarding experience. But if you're feeling particularly spicy, you can opt to incorporate all three expansions for a very heavy game. This now becomes a huge game of epic proportions and a very busy map. This can cause some analysis paralysis, but they seem to link together very well. I enjoy this game and think it's perfectly suited to play as a relatively light tactical skirmish game that packs a punch, or a heavy and more complex strategy game with the addition of one or more expansions. For me, this is possibly one of the coolest themes I've come across in a game for a while, and I was pleasantly surprised by the simplicity of the rules, but still providing a deep experience. The way steam columns deplete can make it a race against time when to take the territory due to Bane effects, as well as them providing areas to build farms that in turn support the number of units you can have deployed that is based on your geothermal resources, really does promote forward thinking and apt planning. Even planning which title to claim is a critical part of the game. Do you want some form of control over the steam column location, or take advantage of a seafaring contract, or select an Archon card to control another aspect of the round? If you're looking for an area control game with a great theme and cool mechanics that provides varied options for how heavy a game you want to play with huge replay value, then Steamwatchers is exactly what you're looking for. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. This is Ninja Geek Games. Cheers.